My cousin, 25 male, has always been the golden child of our generation. He's funny, good-looking, and outgoing, not to mention a boy amongst girls. He's always loved to mess around and play pranks. For the record, I really dislike this cousin. He's irresponsible, childish, and annoying. I've had hearing problems for years. I got a $6,000 pair of hearing aids. Later at my grandmother's birthday party, we ate and drank on the back porch. My grandmother has a pool. My cousin decided he would throw me in the pool because it would be funny to ruin my hair that I just got done that day. I repeatedly told him to stop and put me down in a very serious and not playful tone at all. He threw me in the pool and my hearing aids were ruined. Afterward, when I told him what happened, he said, "Whoops, I didn't know you had hearing aids now." When I told him the cost of them and that he'd have to replace them, he freaked out and said no way. My family didn't want me to make him pay for them because I significantly out-earned him and everyone else. He was in college then, barely making ends meet in a call center job. His girlfriend and he have a baby, and they live in a one-bedroom apartment. He refused to pay, so I took him to court. I won. He refused to make the payments after, so I took him back to court, and his wages are now being garnished for the maximum amount, which is 20% of his total wages. It pushed him over the edge of what he could afford, so now he's had to work extra and drop out of college to be able to pay their rent. My family's absolutely fuming at me. I think he made one bad choice after the other, and he's never given a sincere apology during this whole ordeal. Had he apologized after the incident and asked if he could wait till he finished school to pay me back, I would have been fine with it. But the entitled little idiot is digging in his feet at every move. Am I the idiot? The only reason I could see me maybe being the idiot is because it's affecting his child and his girlfriend. So if he'd broken a wheelchair that someone needed to get around, he and his family would think it's okay not to replace it? Because it's hearing aids, equipment that you need to be able to hear and function in your day-to-day life. They think it's okay for him to just say whoops and get away with it? Not the idiot, but your family's the worst. I can't believe they would enable him like that. If they all think it's so hard on him, why are they all not chipping in to pay off his debt? I'm sorry you have a family of selfish idiots. This isn't an expensive outfit or a purse that he ruined. He ruined something that someone needs for daily living that will affect their life in a dangerous way until they're replaced. That would take a while to replace as it's more than a month's work for most. What was she supposed to do in the interim? Just stay home and leave her life until he can get his crap together so she can hear again? Acting like he just broke a toy is the most enabling, outrageous, and sensitive behavior I've seen. Apparently, they think if a person has enough money to replace it, then it's perfectly fine to destroy it if they think it would be funny. By the way, OP, the only one affecting his girlfriend and child is him and his poor life choices. He chose to throw you in the pool because he wanted to mess up your hair. For goodness sake, he did it to hurt you. He chose not to apologize or try to work with you. He chose to be sued. And I doubt he even considered how those poor choices would affect his child and girlfriend. I'll grant the cousin that he likely didn't think about the hearing aids at all, nor did he think of destroying them as being funny per se. It doesn't change that. He should have never done that and is responsible for the replacement. As to OP, obviously not the idiot. The only possible slightest bit of an idiot angle is that the garnishment has forced him to drop out of college, but that's infinitely more of a case of F around and find out by not paying on the judgment than it was about OP being an idiot. I'm sure if he had paid what he could reasonably afford, say $100 a month for 60 months, OP would have let it go at that and not even charged interest. I have two daughters, Emma, 28, and Lizzie, 25. Emma went to college across the country and upon graduating got a job and stayed there. She's now married with a toddler son. I did a lot of the mother of the bride stuff via FaceTime, as due to my work schedule and financials, I couldn't fly out there for everything. For example, I FaceTimed into the dress shopping. I did fly down 2 weeks prior to the wedding to help get everything ready. When Emma was pregnant, I kept talking to her friends about planning it, asking them to tell me when it was so I could take enough time off work. Emma ended up changing the date, and there was no way I could afford to fly out, on top of taking time off. especially to be there after the baby was born, as Emma wanted. So once again, FaceTime to the rescue. I flew in and was there for her induction and stayed 2 weeks after. I have flown out to visit 4 times since, and Emma's come to me 3 times. I do talk to Emma on the phone at least once a day, FaceTime my grandbaby, etc. I'm not physically present, but I want to be as emotionally present as possible. Emma and I discuss everything, and she often says she's glad we still have a close relationship. Lizzie went to a state school and returned to our town after graduating. Therefore, I was able to be physically there for all the big wedding moments, along with her pregnancy. I was at her baby shower, and now she lives down the street, so I see her, her husband, and their new young toddler daughter at least 4 to 5 days a week. I watch the baby so they can go on date nights. We're very close. Emma and her family flew out for Lizzie's daughter's birthday. I watched both kids so their parents could have separate date nights. I got to do more for my grandson, which I loved. I took him out on outings, just us. I got to spend some one-on-one time with Emma too. I thought it was a really nice visit. However, after returning home, Emma didn't reach out nor respond to my attempts at contact for 2 weeks. When she finally did, I asked her if everything was all right. She said that being back in town made her realize just how much I do for Lizzie and her husband. She said I'm way more active, don't visit her enough, etc. I reminded her that I don't have the money or time off to fly out that often. I wish more than anything that I did. I miss her and my grandson. Emma told me that I clearly have a favorite grandchild and I should spend more time with him. I kept trying to find ways to do more from a distance, but she rebuffed them and said the only way to make it better would be to visit more. I finally asked her what she expected to happen when she started a family cross-country. I am so proud of her and all she's accomplished. I supported the move, but she's also aware of my situation. It'd be one thing to say, hey, it sucks we can't see each other more, but she can't move far away and expect everyone to come to her when they can't financially. Emma and I ended the call. I have since tried to talk to her, check on her mental health, etc. She refuses to talk about anything deeper than her day-to-day life and the little one. She told her father, my ex, who lives closer to her. He called me to say that I was wrong to tell her this and that I should have just let her keep laying into me. Am I the idiot? As someone who's Emma in the situation, you are not the idiot. This is what happens when you move away from family. However, tell your ex that unless he's offering to help you financially to be there more, he needs to shut his mouth and stay out of it. Also, why is it the ex spoiling and being so there for his daughter and grandchild that Emma's comforted, knowing each sister has a supportive parent? Almost like he's done the bare minimum, and mom gets the blame for not compensating his laziness. And why should you have just accepted her laying into you? She was being irrational and unfair, and you made that clear. She's probably still irrationally upset, but she's also embarrassed by it. I am baffled and appalled by Emma's behavior. I understand maybe feeling a bit sad and jealous the other sister gets more physical attention from mom, babysitting and such, but it's not like mom is ignoring Emma and the baby. My mom comes down when she can, and we have FaceTime when she can't. Would it be nice to have a date night and a break more often? Sure, but my husband and I made the decision to live a plane ride away from family, so that's our fault, not theirs. I can't imagine the audacity of telling someone they need to take more time off of work and spend more money to come and see me because I can't accept my own choices. Last year, a longtime friend of mine got engaged to her boyfriend. It's one of those friendships where she and I are decently close. She calls me her best friend, and our significant others are friends because we're friends. They've asked us to be in their wedding about 6 months into the engagement, and we agreed, thinking there wouldn't be much involved. When we got married, we paid for the bridesmaids' dresses, makeup, and hair, and had a local wedding. The groomsmen's suits were only $90 a piece, plus alterations, so we kept it affordable because we didn't have a lot of money and knew our friends didn't either. Now to the issue. Their wedding is in a month, and they've put off every important aspect of the wedding until the last minute. The venue was picked maybe 6 months ago, and the dresses were chosen 2 months ago, and the hotel was chosen yesterday. They chose an out-of-state wedding where no one lives, so everyone has to fly in. and it's adding up all at once. We thought it would maybe cost us a few $100s for everything, but they aren't shelling out a dime. After everything is said and done, it's going to cost us over $2,000 for her wedding and bachelorette, which is only $250 each, flights, rental car, cheap place to stay, etc. Not to mention that the groom keeps planning things in the wrong group chat and leaving my husband out of the loop on things like what day his bachelor party is and when to get a suit. I have dropped subtle hints about trying to mitigate the cost a little because all her bridesmaids have said they're on a budget, but they're still having to shell out $1,000 each. Then when that didn't help, I outright told her we couldn't afford to pay for a $400 suit that they specifically asked the groomsmen to get because the place they're going through said if all the groomsmen buy their suits through this shop, the groom gets his free. She didn't acknowledge anything, only said it's not $400, it's $329, and moved on. It's been like that the whole way. Every time I mention that the cost is adding up and it's getting expensive, I get, yeah, well, and a topic change. She mentioned the rehearsal dinner, and I asked what the plan was since the groom's family usually pays for that. And she said, yeah, about that. His mom was going to pay, but she's not invited anymore. We were just going to ask everyone to pay for themselves for it. Am I the idiot if I just told them we can't do it and drop out of the wedding a month out? We have 2 kids on top of this, and we're not close to homelessness or anything, but we have one income, and she's asking us to shell out $2,000 while she offers nothing, not even a thank you. She just seems very entitled and selfish. Stop giving subtle hints and talk to your friend. Jesus! Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I swear I'm the wedding Grinch, and I often get heat for saying stuff like this. Perspective is necessary in life. A wedding is a party, and no one should ask others to fund their parties or to financially damage themselves for a party. Your friend is being self-centered and rude and not considering her friends and family in her planning. It's awfully easy to spend other people's money. Do what's best for you and your family. Your friend has heard you and doesn't care because she wants her pretty princess party and wants everyone to pay for it. Everyone's the idiot here. While I agree the bride is a bit much, being the nicest way possible to say it, you're also a grown adult with 2 kids and should know not to assume anything. Just because you did your wedding one way, paid for the bridesmaids, unless specifically told otherwise, presume you'll be paying for everything, most things. The key thing is, the venue was picked maybe 6 months ago. Everything else you mention after that is mostly moot. Knowing the venue meant you would have known about flights, car hire, hotels. You really should have clued in on the cost factor and not just dropped subtle hints, but instead had a proper conversation way earlier. A group of my friends, all mid-20s, have been planning this big vacation for months. They picked an expensive destination that's way out of my budget. I'm currently trying to save for a down payment on a house, and even though I have enough and got a windfall recently, I just can't justify spending that much money on a trip right now. When they first brought it up, I mentioned that it was too pricey for me, but they all said I should still come and that it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. They kept saying things like, you can always make more money, but you can't make more memories. But I'm not in a place financially where I feel comfortable dropping that much cash on a vacation. Now they're acting like I'm being difficult for not just making it work and figuring out a way to go. Some of them even suggested I put it on a credit card and pay it off later. I told them I wasn't comfortable with that, and I'd rather skip the trip than go into debt for it. Since then, they've been a bit cold towards me, and now I'm wondering if I'm being unreasonable. I get that they're excited and want everyone to be there, but I also feel like it's unfair for them to pressure me when I've made it clear I can't afford it. Am I the idiot for sticking to my financial boundaries, or should I have tried harder to make the trip work? Not the idiot. Take it from my brother and my experience. 20 years ago, he went on a 3-month, once-in-a-lifetime trip with friends. I bought a house. Now I have a house completely paid for, and he has memories with people he doesn't even hang out with anymore. Prioritizing your financial future over a fleeting trip is smart. OP, those memories won't pay the bills, but your house will give you stability for years to come. You're becoming an adult, and seeing your finances as a marathon, not a sprint. And yes, these friends don't understand that putting something on a credit card you can't pay off immediately can affect your credit score and cause trouble when you apply for a mortgage. I agree. It's concerning that your friends don't grasp how racking up credit card debt can negatively impact your credit score and future mortgage applications. These aren't the actions of thoughtful friends who are considerate of your perspective or respect your boundaries. You may need better friends. I'm a single dad, 35, with 2 kids, a tween female and a pre-tween male. I have a pretty good relationship with my ex. It was my daughter's birthday last Saturday, and when I asked her what she wanted to do for her birthday, she said she wanted to go to a pizza restaurant for dinner with a couple of her friends and then take them back to my house for a sleepover. This isn't exactly a very big, extravagant party, so I said, of course, yes, and that was that. Now here's some context. My son is lactose intolerant, and eating or drinking anything containing dairy wrecks his stomach, but it's not like a deadly allergy, just occasionally vomiting. He can't eat pizza. I couldn't leave him at home, so I told him he'd have to come with me. Fast forward to the day, and everything's going fine. I ordered my son some fries and some other nice sides like dough balls and stuff that he could eat. He seemed happy. My daughter was happy. I thought it had gone perfectly. Then a few days later, my ex texted me saying, "I can't believe you took son's name to a pizza restaurant. You know how much he misses it." I replied that I thought it was fine, and he still got a nice meal, but she said he felt excluded and like he was the odd one out. She said I could have dropped him off at hers, and she could have looked after him for the evening, or even hired a babysitter or something, because apparently he found the whole thing humiliating. Also, there was a risk of cross-contamination, and he shouldn't be allowed to just go to random restaurants. So now I feel bad, and I realize maybe he did feel a little different, but I didn't realize it had upset him so much. So, am I the idiot? I really feel the dad guilt right now. Not the idiot. I'm lactose intolerant too, so let me correct this misconception. Your son can still eat pizza. Many places have plant-based cheeses that they can use to make dairy-free pizza, and even the ones that don't will leave the cheese off the pizza if you ask them to. From personal experience, I can tell you that while these pizzas aren't quite as good as the real deal, they're still pretty good. Your wife is being completely unreasonable. He felt excluded from eating dough balls, but he wouldn't have felt excluded from being dropped off at home before the party? Where's the logic in that? Your ex is being a nut job. There is no cross-contamination for lactose intolerance. He eats it or he doesn't. If he doesn't, then his tummy is fine. And you did not give him any dairy. I can understand her concern about cross-contamination if he had a dairy allergy. However, that's not what you said. So is it her opinion that he should never be allowed to go to a restaurant? I think the biggest thing that needs to happen, though, is a conversation between you and your son, because I would think she was just defending her child and relaying his feelings, if not for the fact that she went so extreme with the nonsense about cross-contamination. I bet that if you had chosen a different restaurant, your ex-wife would have blown you up for not doing what your daughter wanted on her birthday. Or if you had dropped him off at her house, she would have accused you of not including him. You were placed in a no-win situation and failed the test you were meant to fail. There is a reason you're no longer married to her.